Okay, imagine this. A society where your social presence, how you look, how well you perform, it's not just important, it's everything. Like it is the government, the money, even like their spirituality. And the worst thing that could happen, not prison, just being ignored, becoming irrelevant. That's the place we're diving into today, Victoria. It's this huge metropolis, 10 million people, 9,500 square miles down in the southeast. And its whole identity is wrapped up in this phrase, ruthless glamour. Their core belief, the thing driving everything, only the seen survive.
Yeah.
Chilling, really.
Absolutely. And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack that. How does this idea, this need for visibility and performance shape every single aspect of life there? We're talking stunning architecture, yes, but also unique food, a really complex social ladder, their politics, even believe it or not, their military strategy. It's all curated, every detail.
You're right.
For effect.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. Victoria, massive. You said 10 million people. In 9,500 square miles, that's dense. Southeast location, and its signature color, pink.
That's interesting.
And yeah, that ruthless glamour identity and the only the seen survive philosophy, it sounds intense.
It is, and what's really fascinating is how the actual land, the physical setting, sort of supports this whole lifestyle of display. Picture this. It's mostly coastal plain, urbanized, with some low hills behind it. It's packed, yeah, but broken up by these, like, cultural districts, very fancy resorts, zones just blazing with neon entertainment. The climate helps, too. It's Mediterranean subtropical, so hot, dry summers, cool, rainy winters. But crucially, there's this strong sea breeze.
Ah, so it keeps it bearable for being outdoors.
Exactly. Moderates the heat. Plus, they get good rainfall further inland near the river mouth and just creates this perfect backdrop, almost theatrical for people to be outside, to see and be seen. The city itself feels like a stage.
Right, a stage. And walking onto that stage, it sounds like a sensory overload in a good way.
Yeah.
The architecture you mentioned, grand neoclassical stuff, arcades, marble steps everywhere, urban villas, palatial buildings with balconies, columns, fancy cornices.
Absolutely. And these very theatrical courtyards, amazing roof gardens, fountains, really stylish promenades. You can definitely see the inspiration.
Like Paris, you said. Barcelona, Monaco, Italian Renaissance.
Yeah, echoes of all of those. It feels very intentionally grand, very performative just in its structure.
And it's not just the buildings performing, right? You mentioned plants and animals, too.
Even nature is part of the act. They have these unique king's blood roses, deep crimson grown just for expensive perfumes.
Okay.
And fig marrow, this fruit tree,
Yeah.
they actually eat the inner bark, and it's a major export. Then there are terrace palms, used aesthetically, but also in ceremonies.
And the animals. Straw peacocks, just for show.
Bred specifically for show, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobles have these sleek velvet hounds, very elegant dogs, and even the dolphins in the harbor are trained.
Trained for what?
For entertainment, but also apparently for delivering messages.
Yeah.
Like every living thing has a role in the production.
Wow. Okay, so everything is curated.
It really is. And all these details, the buildings, the plants, the animals, it all feeds back into that core theme. Performance, visibility, and naturally that extends right into their food. It's not just about sustenance.
Oh, I bet. What's it like?
Think edible art. Dishes like ember grape tartlets, delicate pastries, wine-glazed fruit, cream, or seared velvet fish served with, get this, gold leaf fig marrow puree and citrus foam.
Gold leaf.
Seriously?
Seriously. King's blood consommé, this deep red broth, is for big ceremonial banquets. Terrace platters are these beautifully arranged tasting boards, local cheeses, figs, olives, even cured strut peacock.
Cured strut peacock. Okay.
The flavors are rich, very refined, aromatic, lots of layers. They use a lot of wine reductions, floral infusion, saffron, smoked salts.
So eating is also a public statement. Absolutely. Imagine being a chef there. Every plate is a performance, impacting your reputation, your patron status. It's food as visibility. And the same intense focus applies to clothing. It's not just about covering up.
Right. So what's the style?
Well, even their everyday stuff is stylish. Tailored tunics, embroidered collars, patterned trousers, silk scarves, sandals with, like, bronze clasps, very put together. Practical wear still looks good. Sleek overcoats, sturdy but nice walking boots, fashionable sunglasses, water-resistant cloaks that probably still look chic.
But high fashion must be something else.
Oh, definitely. Ceremonial high fashion involves these robes with really structured shapes, covered in pearls, glass beads, and here's the key thing. Color-coded sashes.
Sashes. For what?
They tell you everything: profession, family, their cultural house. And for elite events, you see intricate braids or even gemstone facial decorations.
So your outfit is basically your resume and social standing worn on your sleeve.
Ah,
Or sash.
exactly. It's a public declaration, no subtlety needed when visibility is the goal. And the music follows suit. It's incredibly diverse, actually.
What kind of stuff?
You'll hear, elegant salon waltzes, cool rooftop jazz, big orchestral fanfares, romantic ballads. Pretty standard, fancy stuff.
But there's more to it.
Yeah, there's also this underground scene, pulse pop apparently, and even political operas performed in secret venues, so even dissent gets a performance.
Uh-huh. And unique instruments, too.
Really unique. Glass harps, silver flutes, velvet drums, whatever those are, pluck lyres. And these rooftop chimes, high towers, have chimes that play just from the wind passing through.
That sounds amazing.
Alongside, regular stage pianos and string quartets, the themes in the music. Predictably, it's all about beauty, ambition, tragedy hidden by elegance, rivalries, fame, love that doesn't last.
It all serves the spectacle.
Precisely. It's the soundtrack for a living life on display.
Okay, so the stage is set, the aesthetics are clear. But how do people actually talk to each other? How does communication work when everything's about being seen?
Well, the language itself reflects it. Their mottos are incredibly revealing.
Like only the seen survive.
Exactly. And you are what they remember. And this one, elegance is pressure perfected. That says a lot.
Wow, pressure perfected. And they have slang, too.
Specific terms that capture the vibe, like gilded ghost.
That's right.
Someone who's famous, very visible, but kinda emotionally hollow or absent, seen but not felt.
That's weird. Yeah, profound. Any others?
A curtain drop that's like a dramatic moment, maybe a social takedown or a big reveal. And shine-worthy is their highest praise, like brilliant, exceptional, worthy of the spotlight.
Every word counts, sounds like.
It really does. And these ways of speaking, these cues, they directly shape the social structure. It's fascinating. Their class system isn't about money or bloodline, not really. It's a hierarchy based purely on social performance.
So how visible you are, how much influence you seem to have, how well you curate your image.
Exactly. You've got the luminous at the top, celebrities, big cultural patrons, the stars, then the polished, these are the professionals climbing the ladder, stylists, people who manage image. Below them, the faceless. Service workers, essential but expected to be invisible, blend into the background.
That's harsh.
It is. And then, at the bottom, the tarnished. These are the fallen elites, people who messed up, lost their standing. They're like cautionary tales.
So moving between these classes, it sounds brutal. You said ruthless mobility.
Incredibly ruthless. You could rise overnight with a brilliant performance or fall instantly with one wrong word, one bad public moment.
So reputation literally is currency.
It absolutely is. And appearances, how you present yourself, that's the language everyone speaks. Every interaction is high stakes. Privacy is almost a punishment, something only the tarnished really get.
Man, the stress must be unbelievable. What about families? Is that different too?
Oh, very different. Family isn't really about warmth and nurture in the way we think of it. It's strategic, symbolic.
Strategic how?
It's about managing a legacy, building alliances. They have these cultural houses.
What are those, like guilds?
Kind of. They're like these big lineages that combine a profession, a social function, and even a specific aesthetic tradition. Part guild, part dynasty, part brand.
So you inherit your house.
Usually, yeah. And kids, often raised by tutors and image consultants, not primarily by parents. Public family moments, hearth moments, they call them, are totally staged for public consumption.
In marriage?
Contracts,
Yeah.
tied to status, artistic lineage, strengthening the house. Lineage is tracked by sash colors, and a house's success is judged by its cultural impact, its visibility.
Wow. Okay, so customs must be incredibly formal and complex.
They are. Etiquette is a power play. Greetings aren't just handshakes, maybe light fingertip contact, those double air kisses, or even adjusting your sash slightly to show your mood. You have to read the signals.
And introductions.
Always formal. You state your name, your cultural house, your job or discipline, and your latest achievement. Like Viesse d'Argent, House Sorel, curator of the Masked Gala series. Your accomplishments define you publicly.
Constantly performing your success.
Constantly. Their coming-of-age thing, the curtain ascent. It's a public performance where a young person unveils their chosen identity. How well they do can set the course for life.
Intense. And apologies.
Elaborate, choreographed public affairs, the drama might be more important than the sincerity.
And normal conversation. Can you just say no to something?
Rarely directly. They use stylized language, symbolic references, or really subtle, veiled insults, veiled shade. Like that example, your brilliance reminds me of yesterday's starlight, elegant but fading.
Ouch. Brutally polite is right.
Yeah, to survive there, you have to be seen, you have to be remembered, and you have to stay composed. Always.
Okay, this is fascinating. Everything is performance. So how on earth does that translate to, like, running the city, politics, government?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Governance itself is a performance. They're ruled by the Crimson Assembly.
And that is,
A council where power comes directly from your presence, your perceived influence. It's made up of delegates from the cultural houses, big names in public arts, and other reps chosen specifically for how visible they are.
so you don't just get elected.
Not in the usual way. Seats go to winners of popularity contests, cultural competitions, people with major sponsorships. It's about who captures the public imagination.
And how do they make decisions? Policy.
Through public spectacles. Imagine lavish debates that are judged partly on style, fashion duels where opponents try to outshine each other aesthetically, or even policy pageants.
Policy pageants.
Seriously, held in huge amphitheaters. And the crowd's reaction, their applause, their gasps, actually influences the vote weighting. Government as mass entertainment.
That's something else. And they have a head of state.
A ceremonial one, the Rose Regent, chosen every 6 years through something called the Gala of Glass, basically a huge competitive trial of artistry and rhetoric.
Popularity is policy. Wow. Okay, but if everything's based on image, what about law and order? What happens when someone really breaks the rules, not just a social slip-up?
That's the thing. Serious crime, as we think of it, seems pretty rare because the consequences are social, cultural.
How so?
Law enforcement isn't just about police. It's about reputation management, public shaming. You have the Rosariat. They're like a civic corps for keeping decorum at events, managing crowds. Then there are the sash wardens, undercover types who dig up scandals, and a whole ministry of image that manages public records and prosecutes reputation crimes.
Reputation crimes.
Yeah, damaging someone's public image, spreading harmful rumors maybe. Plus, the cultural houses have their own internal discipline boards. They deal with loyalty, honor,
The punishments.
things like public silence, basically being officially ignored, cut off socially, or banishment from important events, social death, essentially.
So the worst punishment isn't jail.
No, it's
Yeah.
irrelevance, being forgotten. In Victoria, that's considered far worse than any physical prison. The ultimate failure is to become unseen.
Okay, so we've got this society obsessed with visibility, shaping everything from personal interactions to government. How does it actually work economically? What pays for all this glamour?
That's where their allure economy comes in. It's really the engine driving Victoria.
Yeah.
They are essentially the fashion house, the opera stage, the red carpet for the whole continent of Azima,
So their economy is about image.
pretty much entirely. Driven by image curation, high culture, selling status. Their main industries are things like hot design runway fashion, custom cosmetics, entertainment and spectacle, huge gala productions, luxury theater. Luxury agriculture is big too, exporting that fig marrow fruit, the king's blood rose elixirs, artisan goods like unique jewelry, sculpted glass, and even cultural tourism.
Tourism where the points is being seen there.
Exactly. Guests pay a premium not just to visit, but for the prestige of being seen at Victoria's exclusive events or locations. It's all about buying into the allure.
That sounds incredibly specialized. Do they make everything, though? What about basics? Food, metal?
Good question. No, they don't. Despite all the surface glitz, Victoria imports most basic necessities: grain, metals, simple tools.
So they take basic stuff and make it fancy.
Precisely. They refine imports into prestige goods. That's the core of the allure economy. And their currency reflects this too.
How so? They don't just use normal money.
They use the standard Azaman currency, sure, but they also have these fascinating microcurrencies based on prestige. There are florins, really ornate coins. People often just collect them. Then glass marks, transparent credit tokens you earn through performance achievements.
So your accomplishments literally become money.
Kind of, yeah. And favorite shits, these are personalized tokens for services rendered, secrets kept, sometimes way more valuable than actual gold.
So the richest people might not even deal in cash.
Exactly. The truly wealthy trade in social capital, exclusive access, favors owed. It's a whole other level of economy. And this whole system isn't just random chaos. It's carefully choreographed by powerful cultural guilds.
Like trade unions.
More like regulatory bodies mixed with elite marketing agencies. The Gilded Loom controls fashion trends, quality. The Lyric Assembly manages performers' contracts, image. The Guild of Sensory Arts handles perfumery, cuisine guarding those high-end secrets. The Crystal Syndicate coordinates jewelers. And get this, the Whisper Chain.
What do they do?
They're discreet rumor brokers. Information or controlled misinformation is a valuable commodity managed by them.
Wow. So to succeed there as a business or an artist,
You have to become part of the show. Your product, your service, it has to be part of the overall experience, the spectacle.
we've hit politics, economy, social life. It's all performance. What about religion, spirituality? How does faith fit into a world obsessed with being seen? Does it even exist?
Oh, it exists, but maybe not how we'd expect. It's also performative. They have the Pantheon of Reflections.
Pantheon of Reflections, okay. Gods of what?
Gods representing different facets of identity, image, truth. There's Vesmera, goddess of allure. Caliph, god of internal truth. Interesting contrast there. Lurian, deity of reinvention, even scandal. And Falara, patroness of etiquette, precision.
So how do people worship them? Prayer, sacrifice.
Less prayer, more performance, self-expression, aesthetic devotion. It said most Victorians perform belief rather than just holding it privately.
Perform belief. Wow. And they have priests?
They do, called the curated. And yes, they dress in incredibly elaborate ceremonial outfits.
And what do? Blessings, sermons.
They act more like image consultants, maybe emotional advisors, ritual coordinators. Their temples aren't quiet places of worship. They're more like galleries, salons, even stage arenas.
So worship is public display.
Very much so. Devotion is practiced through posture, costume, giving a monologue, crafting a meaningful silence. What seems to matter most isn't the inner conviction, but whether the display is captivating, whether it looks like true faith. And the rituals really show this. There's the mirror rite. You confess private flaws, but while wearing a mask. Then you reflect on how others perceive you. It's about the social angle of self-awareness. The masking ceremony is their coming-of-age ritual. A young person publicly picks a patron deity, gets a special curated accessory, and basically unveils their chosen public identity.
And public silence. You mentioned that as a punishment.
Right. It's also a ritual act of contrition. You voluntarily remove yourself from public view. In Victoria, absence can speak volumes, a performance in itself.
And festivals are the huge spectacles.
Absolutely. The Gala of Glass in spring celebrates Vesmera, allure. It's huge. The Shard season in winter honors Caliph, internal truth. It's more muted, melancholic. The Bloom of Ashes in autumn is for Lurian, reinvention. They have public reinvention fires where people symbolically burn things representing old identities. And the Day of the Line in summer invokes Thalara, precisions. It's the formal day for announcing duels, appointments, even excommunications.
Every single one sounds like a major production.
Meticulously staged. Faith is theater.
All right, so even faith is performance. What about defense? Military. You'd think a city built on ruthless glamour might seem like a soft target. How do they protect themselves?
Well, their defense is also about image, about spectacle. Their fortifications aren't just walls. They have harbor rings,
Which are?
tiered marble seawalls, but with hidden artillery cleverly disguised inside ornate spires and structures, and rose bastions within the city.
Checkpoints.
Yeah, but they look like sculptural gardens. Guards and traps are hidden discreetly among the beauty. They also use mirage screens.
Illusions.
Pretty much. Illusion wards, sound dampening fields, creating false building fronts to confuse attackers. A lot of Victoria's defense is about deterring attacks through sheer prestige and disorientation, not just force.
And their army, is it all shiny armor?
Well, some of it is. Their military definitely prioritizes precision, intimidation, and spectacle over just brute strength. You've got the Velvet Guard.
Sounds fancy.
Elite ceremonial protectors, apparently in mirrored armor. Then the painted Lancers cavalry, but they ride trained dolphins in the harbor, or these really sleek land steeds.
Dolphin cavalry, okay.
There are the Echo Blades assassins and psychological warfare operatives. They don't just kill, they leave symbolic messages, disrupt morale. And gilded artificers, spellwrights, engineers who blend magic with glamour effects.
Distraction spells and mirror traps.
Things like that, yeah. It's less about straightforward battle, more like lethal performance art.
So their strategy must be different too.
Completely. It's all about psychological warfare. Disputes often get settled by dualism first.
Ritual public duels.
Exactly. Highly stylized, where the performance is almost as important as the outcome. But their main strategy is perception warfare.
Meaning?
Manipulating the story, spreading false reports, staging dramatic theatrical surrenders to control how the conflict looks, and using precision raids.
Surgical strikes.
Right. Quick hits aimed at dismantling enemy morale or taking out key leaders rather than getting bogged down in big, messy battles. Victoria aims to win by breaking the enemy's will to fight, often through sheer dazzling presence and psychological pressure. And their military legends reflect this. There's the story of the Duel of the Seven Veils.
Go on.
Supposedly, a general defeated invaders purely through seduction and allure, without even drawing a sword, won by performance.
Incredible.
There's the Order of the Glass Thorn, their highest military honor. It's given for secret missions, and the recipients are never publicly named, which is a fascinating paradox in a city obsessed with being seen.
Huh. Hidden heroes in the city of visibility.
Exactly. And then there's the broken mask ceremony. If a soldier dies dishonorably, their mask, likely a symbolic part of their uniform or identity, is publicly shattered. It signifies total loss of face, loss of name, the ultimate disgrace. Hashtag outro.
So, Victoria, we've gone through it all. From the architecture, the clothes, the food, the politics, even war and religion. Every single thing seems to be a carefully crafted, meticulously curated performance. It all circles back to those core ideas. Only the scenes survive. And that really striking one, elegance, is pressure perfected. It takes our idea of a public image and just dials it up to 11,000.
It really does. And it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, something for you to mull over. In a society like that, where your reputation is your money, where public perception dictates everything, what parts of being human get amplified, get elevated, and, maybe more importantly, what gets lost? When every single interaction is a performance, what does it even mean to be truly seen, especially when visibility itself is just this relentless, ruthless competition?